Hello, my name is Kayla and welcome to Tips and Tricks Tuesday, where I'll be showing you all of the latest tips and tricks in PVFARM. Today, we're going to be talking about shade objects. So if you come to the plus sign on the right-hand toolbar of your screen, you're going to see we have three options here. We have a shading box, a shading tree, and a shading wall. Let's start with the shading box. It's going to give me three parameters I can input here. I can put in my height, my length, and my width of the box. So if I press, you'll see that it has placed that box with those parameters. If I come in and I increase one of them, the next one that I put down will be following these new parameters. So the shading trees are going to work the same way, where we have some parameters and we just place down. And you can just continue to place as many as you want. Say if you wanted to put a line of trees like this. However, we do recommend that for a shade line of trees, it may be better to come to the plus sign and do a shading wall. So for a shading wall, you're going to place points as if you're drawing a polyline. You'll hit OK. And we see here that we've now created this shading wall. And the bottom is undulating along with the terrain. Notice that everything is being placed on the terrain. And I've also gone ahead and placed my trackers on my terrain as well, so that we can start calculating that shading. Now, in order to calculate shading, I want to make sure that in my energy panel, the shading toggle is turned on so that it is in fact calculating. And if I want to convert, I can click on one of my tracker objects, open up its object details, scroll down until I see the shading section where I've got my shading factors per angle that's being calculated for this specific track. And at the top, we'll see this ambient shading factor. So that's what we're going to use whenever we're looking at the shading for our entire scene here. So let's say I'm going to draw a shading wall just along the side of this block. Hit OK. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up my property analysis. So the way I'm going to look up my shading in the property analysis is with my object type set to SAT or single axis tracker. And my property is ambient shading. You can just start to type ambient and that will get you there. So you'll see this nice little table of all the different ambient shading factors from every tracker in my site. If I go ahead and hit colorize hierarchies, it's going to change the color of the tracker according to what that ambient shading factor calculation is. So you'll notice that where I've placed this shading wall, we're seeing some reds because it's going up higher into the shading factor than the other ones around it. So using this, you're going to be able to mock up your shade scenes and make some decent comparisons between different options for your site. And then once we're ready to do more granular shading analysis, you can come to the export panel, and we now have Collada for PVSYST as an export type. That's going to export your shade objects in a .dae file format. I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you next week.